This is the RV Game Changer. In this podcast, we will speak with manufacturing leaders, component suppliers, dealers, subsector innovators, influencers, and industry experts who all believe RVing is good for our environment. It's good for our economy. It's great for our family values and overall well-being. With your help, we can improve the RV experience for everyone. Today's episode of RV Game Changer is brought to you by RVing Today TV. If it has anything to do with RVing and camping, you can bet you'll see it on RVing Today TV. Celebrating its 14th year, RVing Today TV is the #1 weekly RV and camping lifestyle show in the country. Available on major television stations and sports networks nationwide, as well as various streaming media platforms. Visit RVingToday.tv, where you'll find the list of stations and networks carrying the show, along with additional stories, news, and contests. Today on RV Game Changer, I have the distinct pleasure of speaking with one of the most learned men in the whole of the U.S. RV industry. He has committed his life to the perpetuation of knowledge and careers of many RV technicians around the country. Chris Dougherty sets a whole new paradigm when it comes to technical education, the mechanics, and inner workings of RVs. He is one of only a very few new RV Technical Institute Master Certified Level 4 RV technicians. Ladies and gentlemen, allow me to introduce you to Chris Dougherty. Hey, Chris, thanks for coming on the show today.
My pleasure, Bernie. It's great to be here.
Thanks. We're going to have a good time talking about a lot about your history and what you're doing for the RV industry and all this exciting things that are going on in your life to help the RV industry as a whole. Tell us a little bit about your personal story and life history as an RVer.
Well, I've been at this basically all my life, right? So I started RVing when I was 3 years old. I grew up on a horse farm in upstate New York, and we got a Winnebago, and so I grew up with it, and it's been a desire of mine, again, ever since I was a little guy, to RV and to travel by RV. I always enjoyed that, and I always enjoyed tinkering on them also. So it was something that I grew up with, and then when I was in college, and then I went to work in the fire service. One of my brother firefighters and I bought a 1986 Coleman pop-up and restored it to like new condition, and that was kind of my start in it. And I haven't been without an RV since, and that led me to 10 years as a full-time RVer. Even when I was in the fire service, I did that, and then I started working in the industry in 1998, part-time, and that led to owning a business of my own, and then going to work in the dealership, and then to Motorhome and Trailer Life magazine, which was really fantastic.
That's fantastic. You've had such an extraordinary experience there with RVing. It seems like it was a real organic start. Like you were just hanging out with your buddy and you said, we're going to fix up this camper. And that was the kind of the beginning of it. So how did this, enthusiasm turn into a passion to teach more people and be this RV PhD you are today?
Well, one of the things that led me to that actually was Gary Bunzer, the RV doctor. He got that from the RV Doctor column, which started back in the late 60s, early 70s. And he also grew up in the business. His family had an RV and mobile home business down in Florida. So when he got out of the military, he was a CB. He went to work there, and it just kind of went forward from that. And he saw in his career that there was a need to train RV technicians, that there was, as these things became more and more complicated over the years, as more systems
Sure.
were developed, and of course the safety side of it, and there's a lot of little pieces to that. He started working on training with RVIA and RVDA, and started a technician school in Florida, And that's when they started first developing some kind of curriculum for RV technicians.
Well,
So when I got to know him, it was he brought me under his wing, and he saw that I was interested in that. I had done fire service training before, and had that in a communications background, and so one thing led to another, and here I am today, still working on that.
yeah, it sounds like he was one of your very first mentors and someone who really helped guide you and give you that encouragement and
Mhm.
information that you needed. Were there anybody else in your life that helped you help mentor you through this process?
So many people, certainly some friends at RVIA. Bruce Hopkins is a big one. Sharon Lee, who's still there. I worked with quite a bit in my early interactions, but just so many people. One of the things about the RV industry is that it's a relationship business, and
Right.
you end up you have access to just about everybody. You get to know people, and I found that a real blessing in this journey. And it's been great, and so many other people. I mean, I could sit here for a half an hour with people in the fire service and friends and family and whatever. But there's a lot of people in your tribe that help you to get where you're going, and I'm hoping I'm serving them back a little bit now.
Oh, that's fantastic. It's really important that we continue to evolve and we learn so much from different people that we run into. And I have mentors as well, and we talked about one of them earlier before the show, Willie Miller. He's been a big influence in my
Absolutely.
life. Yeah, he's a wonderful person, and he's a giver, and it's
Hmm.
important. But what I found, something that was important to me, like as you said, RVs are getting more complex, and it seems over the last couple of years it's been an exponential kind of growth in the different complexities that RVs are starting to encounter. So, what does that mean to the technicians out there?
Well, one of the interesting things about RV technicians that makes it different from any other trade is that, when we talk about the trades, right? If you go to into high school and you talk about the trades,
Hmm.
uh, you know, are you going to be an electrician? You're going to be a plumber. You're going to be a carpenter, a steel worker, so on and so forth. Operating engineer, all these different types of things. In the RV industry, you've got to be um, pretty familiar and with all the trades, right? So you have to be a mechanic, you have to be a carpenter, you have to be an electrician, you have to be a plumber, you've got to be an electronics tech, a hydraulics tech. Um,
Propane,
uh, what's that?
propane systems.
Yep, absolutely. You got to be, yeah, propane's a big one. And that's one of the big safety things, generator tech, right? Mechanic, being able to work on chassis and axles and things like that. So and that's one of the fun things about it. If you're willing to take on the challenge, is that you start to learn all these things. And if you become proficient in them, it really works well for you in your career
Right.
as a tech, but also in your own life too, as being able to do a lot of things on your own. So it works out
As a
pretty well.
homeowner or someone owning a vehicle,
Hmm.
so yeah, you can probably save a lot of money and heartaches by maintaining your own vehicles, by taking care of your own home. But also, the more information that you gather, the more that you can do and serve the RV industry. And I'm sure you end up getting paid a little bit better as the education level goes up, right?
That's one of the great things about this new program. So, I'm not the only master certified tech out there for sure. We have a lot of people who were master techs in the old system that have grandfathered over. And, I was able to get my master now. I've been certified since 2005 ish,
Wow.
but never master certified. And so when RVTI started, they didn't have that program in place. And so they just opened that up within the last year, since the beginning of the year, basically, I believe. But they've been allowing training up to this point. And so for the past year and a half, I've been repeating a lot of training just to be able to finally get the hours, all the tests done, and everything else to be master certified.
Fantastic.
And and that's something that I've kind of always wanted to do. But going back to being an RV technician, one of the great things about it is that you see something different every single day. And it's not, doing the same thing. If you're an electrician, you're kind of doing wiring every day, whatever, and it's fine. It works out really well. But this does give you some of that variety, and some people really like that.
That's fantastic. In your own words, Chris, you say RVing is fun and fulfilling lifestyle and hobby. It can also be complicated, at times frustrating, and even hazardous without proper knowledge and understanding. So, Chris,
Mhm.
what would be some of these frustrations and hazards that we would need to be concerned about?
So, when I talk to the consumers, and I do consumer shows all over the country, the Hershey show especially, but in different places. I talk in Springfield show here, the Boston show with Nervda. Um, One of the things that I see with the consumers is that they don't understand the systems. A lot of people who come into the RV space aren't necessarily technical people, and so they're coming into it with maybe a little bit of a deficit. They're not really comfortable with that stuff. And certainly working with fuels, working with electricity, things like that, there can be some hazards with that. But there's also frustration with it, that if something goes wrong and you're on vacation, how do you deal with that? Like, what sort resources do you have at hand? How can you make the problem better so that you can continue your vacation? And I think that's a big piece of it.
Oh, absolutely. It seems like you you help mentor and educate RVers, but you're also helping and mentoring people who help RVers, right?
Mhm,
So it's just like it's a big circle of it, and it's all interconnected. So whether you're one
mhm,
on one with an end user, or you're or 10 on one with a classroom full of people needing to get the education so they can have a career, you're all about that. But I have to
mhm.
say, Mr. Dougherty, I assume a man such as himself is not just sitting around watching Netflix every night. You're not on the dole. You've got
Oh,
a
no,
real
no, no.
job. Yeah,
There's a
yeah.
lot
You
of
get,
work to do.
yeah, I'm sure there's a lot of work to do. So, what are some of the organizations you've been associated with, and how have you contributed to them,
So,
if you please?
I'm sorry?
I said, if you please.
If you please. Yes, absolutely. Haven't been to Ireland. I certainly understand that, and I don't have a
Oh,
good pipe
different
with
part of
me here,
Ireland that
but,
I've been from, I can tell you that, yeah.
so at any rate, over the years, I started working in the industry. I was working, again, small business. I worked for Interlake RV Park and Sales, where I worked service. That was my kind of my first job. And worked in the campground. I managed the campground, and that's how I got into full time RVing. I sold a house and ended up. I was just going to be there for a couple of months until I found another one, and then it just ended up. I moved into the house there during the off season, and it ended up becoming a thing. So and it was a lot of
Right.
fun. On top of it, and great people. The Dumases were just fantastic folks that I got to learn a tremendous amount from.
Now you've done
And then
some writing as well, right? For,
so,
magazines and such like that?
so I first started writing in the industry for RVTravel.com in 2003, and
Yep.
then went to RV Pro, and
Wow.
wrote for them for quite a while. Then I um, got the opportunity. Actually, it was Brad from RV Pro called me and said that Good Sam was looking for a technical editor for Motorhome and Trailer Life magazine, and they were at the time the kind of the Mount Everest of our business.
Right.
75 and 80 years old. Just they were the big publications, and so I was a service manager at Diamond at the time. But when that came up, one thing led to another, and I ended up doing that up until the pandemic when they closed them. And So that was certainly an honor to do that. I've done stuff for every business. Right now, I've done stuff for FMCA for many years, family motor coaching and now family RVing.
Thank
RV
you.
business I've contributed to. My friends over there, I know everybody at RV business, and they're all just fantastic folks. And
What a
I've
great bunch
enjoyed
of
working with
people
them.
over there at RV Business. I have to say they help perpetuate the RV industry every single day.
Mhm.
How about Go RVing? Have you had any affiliation with Go RVing as of yet?
Well, not directly. So I know some of the folks over there,
Hmm.
with my affiliation with RVIA. I am a member of RVIA as a trainer and supporting the business that way. But
It's
I've
all
not
one
done
big
anything
happy
directly with
family
them.
anyway, right? Yeah. They go to
Yeah,
the
it
same
is.
meetings you do.
Yep, absolutely. And so that's always fun, to see what they're doing. And Karen Redfern came out here a few years ago to the Big E and got to chat with her a little bit there. And we all see each
Yeah.
other at different events, so it works out pretty well.
Hey, this is obviously that's something really important to you and important to many people. It's not just about the learning, it's also about making sure that there are technicians out there available to RVers, right? And
Mhm.
when and where they need them. So tell us a little bit about the need for good qualified RV technicians right now all across the country.
So we're looking at an installed base of, I like to say 13, 14 million. And I know there's some different numbers that are out there. The
Wow.
industry says there's this many RVs that are out there. I go a little bit high with it because when I started in the business, I dealt a lot with seasonals, RVers.
Yeah.
And so there were parks up in the Hudson Valley that they had permanently parked units. And I think a lot of those, because they're not registered or whatever else, they kind of fall off the radar. So I know that there's a lot of those seasonals out there. Nevertheless, we've had a huge increase in number of RV owners over the last few years through the pandemic. It actually started ramping up in 2016. The millennials were all very interested in it, and so as we've built that up, and it's something that I've seen in the service side of it, is that we have a hard time servicing all those customers, and so we need to get I think, kind of creative in how we recruit technicians, which is a big piece of what RVTI does, the RV Technical Institute. But then we also need to do that as an industry and also as dealerships, and make the career what it truly can be. And so a lot of dealers have been helping to promote that. They've started pay scales, whereas you get certifications, your pay goes up,
Oh, that's
which has been
fantastic.
huge. I've run into a lot of techs across the country who have been in those new pay plans, and they're diving into getting the certification and getting all the training that they need for it. And so once they have all that and they have 5 years, they're good to go. But they have to recertify every 5 years. This is not a one and done.
Right.
There's a lot of repeat training that you have to do in order to maintain that.
And plus, like we spoke about earlier, there's just so much changing with these campers every single year. It's
Hmm.
just it's amazing the technology that's going into them and all the new features that people are really interested in. And the RV industry has been stepping it up and offering all these new features and
Hmm.
programs and apps and pads and all kinds of crazy stuff that's
Hmm.
making it a little bit more complicated for the RV technician, but then again, it's making them more qualified, right?
It absolutely, and those are all things, if you wanna do your job well, the certification program, and I say you wanna do your job well. I mean it as a technician. I also mean as a dealership, as a business owner. If you wanna do the right thing, you wanna do your job well, then, having qualified technicians, people who are familiar with things, know that where they can get to resources if they get, hung up on something, that can be more efficient, it makes a big difference, in
Yeah.
for
Well,
everybody.
yeah, think about it, right? So if a customer goes in and wants to get their RV repaired or something done, and it isn't done right because the information wasn't there for the technician, that costs the customer a little bit of heartache, some time,
Mhm,
and some inconvenience, and it costs the dealership extra money. So to have someone that is certified and taken to another level, to a higher level with a higher level of education, they're going to do
mhm,
the job right the first time, and it saves a lot of time and hassle and better reviews. Happy campers, better people referring other RVers to that dealership, and all the things
mhm.
that go along with that.
Yep, absolutely. We all want repeat customers. We want to have a good relationship with them. Not everybody. I mean, you know what? This is even though in comparison, I guess, to the automotive industry, it's small, but it's still a big industry. It's a multi-billion-dollar industry,
Right.
And so you've got different players in it, and some people find it a positive thing to have certifications. Other ones don't want to be dealing with it, and that's their business. They own their own small business, whatever else.
Yeah.
You lead a horse to water, you can't make them drink. Right, but when you have the certification program, you've got a lot better chance. If I'm a consumer and I'm looking for some place to service my RV, if I see that symbol that shows that, that there's certified technicians there, or I go in the shop and I see people with certification patches and things like that. I see those hanging on the wall. I know a lot of automotive shops and truck shops that I've dealt with where the technicians, all their certifications go on the wall. They paper the walls with these things, and they really believe in it. And when you walk in there, you say, you know what? These guys have got some creds. They've got some
Yeah.
stuff going on.
The customer has more confidence in their abilities, right?
So from the customer standpoint, absolutely. They show that they've had training, and that when they can, even when they end up talking to someone in the dealership, that it's not just like going into a big box store and, it's like, oh, okay. It's like, you walk into a big box, stationary place or whatever else. And do you have this pen? I don't know. Let me look it up in the computer or whatever. It's people who are professionals and they
Right.
understand their craft. And
They
that's what
they know
I'd
their
love to
job.
see. Yeah. And I'd love to see that in the RV industry where we look at technicians as being craftspeople. And I think if they can get the feeling that they're really making a difference, and the daily grind is the daily grind, but if you can get into it and know that you're making a difference when you're putting this thing out there, and then dealers can see it as a profit center, they can see it as, again, we're doing this craftsmanship out in our shop, and that's truly professional, then it's going to make all the difference in the world.
Yeah, those added efforts, I always say what goes around comes around. Those added efforts really turn into, better business, right? And that better business gets a better reputation. And I just
Hmm.
want folks to realize that these RV technical jobs are not just for men. You
No.
know, RVTI and the RV Women's Alliance are doing a lot to incorporate women as RV technicians. Tell us a little bit about what's going on there.
So absolutely, the RV Women's Alliance came about a few years ago. I don't remember exactly when, but started as a group of people in the industry that were trying to organize women in the business and to have conversations about careers and things like that. So early on, they started working with the RV Technical Institute, and the director of education over there, Bill Stewart, um, worked with that to start developing these level one training programs with for women with the RV Women's Alliance, and it's worked out very well. They're doing them in different parts of the country now, not just in Elkhart. I got to work with the first class a little bit. I was teaching at RVTI and a different class, but we got moved around so that I could go out because it was a very big class actually, and they needed extra hands on the out in the shop floor to do practicals and things like that. So I did have that opportunity while I was there, and they've had great success with it. And we've got another one coming up in conjunction with the Hershey RV show. There
Yeah.
at the same time, there at the Hershey Lodge. So it's going to be a very interesting time. Yeah, and there's a lot of women technicians out there that are doing a fantastic job. They enjoy it. Um, and again, it's all about that craft, right? So you get to do this good work. And sometimes people will specialize, right? And you get, whether it's in your own business or sometimes larger dealerships will have people that specialize only in one area. You have a big shop like Lazy Days in Tampa, Florida, they have 250 service bays, right? So they're
Right.
all broken down into divisions and
They
different
could be
people handle
designated for
different things.
certain things. Absolutely. You know,
Yep.
uh, here's the thing. Maybe not everyone realizes, but women have an incredible attention to detail. So they
Mhm.
may see something that a lug like me would just kind of brush over and not even notice it. You know,
Yeah.
but
Oh, absolutely.
the RBTI also has other programs that they've initiated recently to rehabilitate, educate, and give purpose to ex-convicts and make them part of the RV technical pool. Tell us a little
So
bit about that. Yeah.
Yeah, so I was involved in that for a time. Also, so there were 3 correctional facilities in the country that were involved in the trial program. So we had one here at the Worcester County Sheriff's Office, and working with Sheriff Lou Evangelitis, did a fantastic job. He's doing a fantastic job over there. And we ran that for about 2.5 years, which worked out pretty well. Then you had Indiana State Corrections, and then there's Texas Women's Prison that was also doing the level 1 RV technician program. And so you don't hear a lot about the feedback on it, but I had a lot of interest from inmates that were looking for a new start, and I've gotten some feedback that they're are out there working, as they've gotten out, and so there's some that are working in Eastern Mass that are working out pretty well.
That's fantastic. It's great. The industry is very integrated in many different ways, in ways that we haven't even thought about. But why don't we get into a little bit of what you got going on, right? So you have this wonderful website, DoughertyRV.com, and let's tell us a little bit about about this, Chris. Thanks.
My website, and the RV, and even the RV PhD blog, they tie into my seminars for the most part at this point. So I still do writing for Family RVing magazine, and I do some podcasts like this, and I do have the RV PhD blog, which I'm adding to as I can.
Yeah, you
And
can
so we'll be
subscribe right on your site. Yeah.
You can subscribe right on there. You can also get to the newsletter, or you can go to rv-phd.com, um, and
Okay. Excellent.
and get to it. And I try to keep the seminars that I'm doing. I do notes pages and things like that. So people that come to my seminars can scan a QR code and get to the notes and things on the website. But again, it's the same thing. It's all in support of trying to make people better RVers so that they can enjoy the lifestyle better, and then the same thing on the industry side, trying to make improvements there. Again, it's we want people to stay in RVing. It's a fantastic lifestyle. I'm both a user of RVs as well as working in the industry, and so I try to bring those two together so that people can have the best experience they can.
I want to thank you so much. You provide such a great resource for the RV industry. But let's say a full service dealer is looking for resources to best educate, prepare, and certify technicians to better their workforce. What would be the best plan of action for them?
Absolutely. So the systems that I work in for technician training right now, I do all the tech level the RVTI tech training for the Pennsylvania RV Camping Association,
Oh,
PRVCA,
wow.
the people that put on America's largest RV show, the Hershey Show, and then New England RV Dealers Association. And we're looking at different things there. The other thing you can do, really great resources, go to RVTI's website. Okay, so rvti.org, and you can see different trainings that are available there. You can see the career ladder, which is important. So if you're interested in getting your staff up to speed with the training and getting them involved in this, that's a great place to start. And they have a great staff over there that will work with you to develop a learning plan, for your dealership. They're able to do certification classes. You can do it online independently. You can do it remotely so that you do some of it online. You meet with an instructor once a week, and then you go out there. Like for instance, level 2, you'll go out for a week to do your hands-on stuff, or you can
Okay.
go to RVTI. And
Thank you so
so
much. I mean, yeah,
yeah,
there's so much to do, right? There's so many ways to get there and so many ways to go. RDRV.com, and make sure you like and subscribe to RV Game Changer.
like and subscribe.
And if you want to find the latest episode of RV Game Changer, make sure you go to rvtoday.tv, where you find our latest episode along with a lot of great information, tips and tricks, and videos of RVing Today TV. If you want to get a hold of me, go to RV Game Changer on YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn, and Instagram, and make sure to subscribe. Have a wonderful week, and God bless.